how does this end as it relates to the Department of Homeland Security? Because the Democrats have put out a list of demands. The White House is negotiating, and they seem at odds. And this is the only thing that's unfunded right now.
Yeah, there's only 3% of the government not funded. We've been in a situation like this before, so you really don't feel it. But the interesting part here, this really isn't about Homeland Security as you know it. It's not about ICE. These are the things that will not be funded. FEMA, TSA agents, and think about this. These poor agents went through 40-some days without being paid and showing up to work every day. Secret Service, Coast Guard. Those are the things that won't be funded because ICE has already been funded well into the future.
One big beautiful bill.
So this is, this is showing where the Democrats, this is an emotional decision. They're not being smart about it. It's emotional, thinking they can't vote for something when they're really shutting down the Coast Guard, FEMA, Secret Service.
But what would you say to the president? Like if you put back on your former Speaker of the House hat, what would you say to the president? Because the polling's against him on ICE, right? And it's something like 60% of the country is against the immigration actions, 2/3 of independents. And now I just saw, that surge come out of Minnesota, as we just talked about. So the president's changing here as this is the backdrop, as Democrats want more change. So what would you tell the president?
I think the president is actually taking the right move. He put Tom Homan in. Look at the professionalism. And think about the 4 decades that Tom has served this country, from President Obama to President Trump. He went in there, professionalized, drawled down, calmed the situation, worked with leaders on the other side of the aisle, even the governor, attorney general, and got things to a very solid position. The country wants to have a secure border. The country wants to have legal immigration. They also want those who are gang members that are here illegally removed. Focus on the areas where the country seriously wants it. Find those gang members, but do it in an essence that you're not creating these battles inside these cities. And I think that's where you see the president going. This whole election.
Those that believe he went too far?
Look, in any situation, the people want to have secure borders. They want to have safety in their streets. I think this has been riled up by a lot of people on both different sides. I don't think people should be going in. These ICE agents have to be able to feel safe. The idea that the Democrats are saying you can't wear masks, they just want to know where these people live and where they work and intimidate them. You can't have that happen.
Here's what I've seen. I've seen Republicans rebuke the president on the Epstein files. Just the other day, a handful of them, 6 of them, rebuked him on his tariff policy as it relates to Canada. It feels like more Republicans are feeling, you know what, we can go against the president right now. Do you think that's sort of the state of play in the House right now? Does he have the control over House Republicans that he once had?
Look, this president is stronger politically than even Ronald Reagan was. What I would
right now, you think?
Right now, oh, more definitely. He can determine an endorsement of whether someone wins or loses. This is what the Republicans themselves are doing. They're not playing as a team. And inside Congress, you need a team. You need 218 to do anything. The idea that you have allowed more discharge petitions to go, that you have turned this floor over to the Democrats, is the worst position to be. You need to act together. You're not going to get 100% of what you want, but you're going to get it in a better form. If you can't pass a rule that allows the Republicans to control the floor, then you have made Hakeem the speaker.
Do you think that's coming in 2026? Because I'm looking at DHQ, our partners, the generic ballot is Democrats +4. The betting markets have it at a 78% chance.
Look, there's a lot of indications where you go. If you look at the New Jersey and Virginia races for governors, historically, if the Democrats win both, they usually flip the House. If Republicans win one, the Republicans flip the House. If you look at the state races, look at Virginia delegate races. There were 8 Republican incumbents that sat in seats that Kamala Harris carried. All 8 of them lost. But there were 5 Republicans who sat in seats that Trump carried up to 4.5%. They all lost, too. So what you find, if you extrapolate that and put that onto the current map, the Democrats have the advantage. But the Democrats have the weakest leadership they ever had in Hakeem Jeffrey and Schumer. They are disadvantaged in money disproportionately. We have never seen this way of disproportionate money advantage. But you also got to look at recruitment. Now, when I became leader, Nancy Pelosi became speaker. In 4 years, we won the majority by 5 seats. I won 5 more seats in California, 5 in New York. Recruiting matters. We elected the most Republican women in the history of our party.
Do you think we see Speaker Jeffries in January 1st, 2020?
Well, it's really interesting. If Democrats were able to win, there's no guarantee that he's speaker. David Plouffe.
Do you think we see a Democratic speaker?
There's a long way from it right now. If you look at if you look at the polling nationwide, the advantage is to Democrats.
Okay.
But the economy is going to be coming back. Does it come back fast enough?
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.